www.healthcmi.com. Acupuncture continuing education online today. Acupuncture and herbs beat drug for ankylosing spondylitis. This was published at healthcmi.com on September 16, 2019. Simply click on news and take a look for the article. Acupuncture and herbs outperform a popular medication for the alleviation of ankylosing spondylitis. Hainan University of Traditional Chinese Medicine researchers investigated the benefits of drugs versus acupuncture and herbal medicine for the treatment of this disorder. The researchers conclude that acupuncture plus herbal medicine is more effective than the anti-rheumatic medication. They did subjectives and objectives, and we'll get into the details, but basically ankylosing spondylitis is a form of arthritis. It's involving inflammation of the joints. Most often it's the lower spine. It can be anywhere in the spine, and in fact, in severe cases, the spinal column will fuse together. They call it bamboo spine. It's very stiff. That is the most severe complication. Some people will just experience general arthritis pain, especially in the sacroiliac joint. People who are more likely to get ankylosing spondylitis, actually, you can spot a gene for that, and that predisposes someone. Technically, the name of the gene is HLA-B27. That accounts for about 30% of the susceptibility. Other aspects that go into whether or not someone will get ankylosing spondylitis are family history of it, and if there are a lot of digestive infections over time, that tends to point to that. Some people have an eye disorder called iritis associated with that. So that would be like a painful red eye and severe light sensitivity or blurred vision that can go along with this. Men are more likely to develop it. Onset is usually late adolescence or early adulthood. And again, hereditary is the biggest indicator. These people also tend to get compression fractures from thinning of the bones. So we have to have realistic expectations for what acupuncture and herbs can achieve, because even though the acupuncture outperformed the drug in this study, and you can see the names of the drugs, the names of the hormones tested, the name of the biomarkers tested, everything's there. Sample size, it gives a very detailed analysis. If you go to healthcmi.com, click on news and look for this article of all the specifics, but let's give the overall view. What's happening here is acupuncture can relieve some of the inflammation, slow the progress, and relieve some of the pain. So again, realistic expectations. We're not expecting necessarily to cure this disorder, but to manage it to make life more livable. So it wasn't just subjectives that were measured here. The researchers also measured objective data, and acupuncture was successful in improving levels of the ESR, that's the erythrocyte sedimentation rate, which is an indicator of inflammation, along with C-reactive protein, CRP, regulated parathyroid hormone levels, and complement C. Keep in mind the complement cascade, that is it's an unusual term, complement, but it's not it's not like getting a compliment with an I, but it's a complement. So complement means kind of inflammatory cascade of chemicals, including even things like histamines, everything that causes inflammation as a reaction to something. So think of ankylosing spondylitis as a type of arthritis that involves inflammatory chemicals within the body overwhelming the system and causing inflammation, especially around that sacroiliac joint, one of the most common areas. So what they did was they gave acupuncture some really interesting points. Acupuncturists will note that the Huatou Jiaji points play a big role here, bladder 23, or those low back points, and there's a lot of them, along with the tendon points, things like gallbladder 34, Yangling Tuan, things like this. Again, that's listed in the article. And then the herbal medicine was very simple, which is interesting. It was a diuretic formula. It was a modified version of Wuling San. So it was Zhuling, Zixie, Niu Shi, Changhuo, Fuling, Fangfeng, and Guizhi. And I could see, so I think they're attempting to flush out the inflammation here. And they were able to pull this off where they got a lot of results. Pretty good detail on this one. So, again, what they haven't studied is the complete and optimal program for these people, because perhaps in severe cases, combining acupuncture, herbal medicine, even drug therapy may be necessary. So again, it was just comparing drugs with acupuncture and herbs. So one group had herbal medicine, one group studied had drugs only, and another group had the same herbal medicine and acupuncture but no drugs. So the group receiving acupuncture plus herbs did outperform the herbs only group and the drugs only group, and they got some good results. So I think no surprises with the acupuncture selection of GV6, Jizhong, Huatoja G points, bladder 23, Shenshu, governing vessel 2, Du 2, Yao Shu, gallbladder 34, extra points, the Asher points, some GB33, Yang Guan, Du 14 or GV14, Dazoi, GV9, Zhiyang, and GV8, Jin. So now GV14, governing vessel 14 or Du 14, Dazoi, that is interesting, and it shows me that it's a very informed choice by these researchers, because that is at the upper part of the spine, right? Below the neck. And Du 14 in Chinese medicine, now, of course, it's famous for bringing down fevers and toxic heat. It's great for wellness visits. But Du 14, again, has a very powerful anti-inflammatory, antitoxin effect on the body. So the way I'm reading this is that Du 14 is there to bring that complement cascade down, to bring that inflammatory cascade of chemicals down, to regulate that, get the body into normal function. Seems like a very good choice. In fact, there's that classic combination that the great Professor Wei Shui once used, which was Da Zoi, Dao Da, Zhen, Zhu. So do 14, 13, 12, which is a great combination for febrile diseases, for benefiting in a wellness visit to keep people's immune systems in regulation and strong and healthy, sometimes combined with large intestine 11 and stomach 36 or large intestine 4. But here they're using Du 14, a smart choice, I think perhaps an essential choice. I would like to see additional research if they did the full Da Zoi Da Da Zhensu, Do 14, 13, 12, because that might be interesting if it could have a different effect on the serum levels of these inflammatory markers. Again, they also did the global score subjectives of pain, and they did radiographic measurements as well. And acupuncture plus herbs did outperform the drugs and the herbs only group in radiographic changes and C3, ESR, CRP, and PHI. So a nicely designed study with subjectives and objectives, including specific biomarkers of inflammation. And again, we have to adjust our expectations. The positive patient outcome rate for the acupuncture group with herbs, again, that was the highest rate of success. Everything from modest or slight success to excellent success was 52.8%. So half the people really did well, or slightly more than half. So it is a matter of adjusting expectations, again, for managing this disease. Also, for the disease itself, absent any treatment, people can experience anything from mild pain throughout their life, like a mild arthritic condition, and not really even know they have ankylosing spondylitis, to very severe bamboo spine with the fusion of the bone. So this disease does have a range. What will be nice is, and what the study suggests, is that we can bring that range of severity down and down-regulate those inflammatory cascades for these patients. But this seems like someone would have to be a regular patient on an ongoing basis and taking herbs regularly, which doesn't seem like a big sacrifice to make in terms of time and energy to keep this disorder in check and have a good life. This also gets into a little detail with needling techniques. So it looks like overall there was some points were tonified, some points were sedated. And then some where a little combination of the Ping Bu Ping Xie, the mild attenuating and tonifying technique. And that's all broken down in the acupuncture section of this article. So go to healthcmi.com, look for the article entitled Acupuncture and Herbs Beat Drug for Ankylosing Spondylitis, and learn more. Thank you for listening. I'm Adam White, licensed acupuncturist, and we'll be back soon. www.healthcmi.com.